The baby wouldn't stop crying. Maya sat on the edge of the hospital bed, her body still aching from the delivery 8 hours ago. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Her daughter, unnamed, because Arjun said they'd decide together when he arrived, had been screaming for 20 minutes straight. The nurses had shown her how to hold the baby, how to feed her, but nothing worked. She was alone. Her phone sat on the side table. No messages. She'd called Arjun 4 times. The first call went to voicemail. The second rang out. The third and fourth, he declined. A nurse poked her head in. "Everything okay, honey?" Maya nodded, though tears were running down her face. She didn't trust her voice. The nurse hesitated, then closed the door gently. Maya looked down at the screaming infant in her arms. This tiny thing with Arjun's nose and her own dark eyes. She'd imagined this moment so many times, her husband bursting through the door with flowers, his mother following behind with that tight smile she always wore, his father shaking his head but secretly pleased to have a granddaughter. Instead, silence. She picked up her phone again. Typed a message with shaking fingers. "She's here. Our daughter. Please come." The message showed as read immediately. No response. The house was dark when she arrived the next evening. She'd taken a taxi from the hospital, spending money she didn't have, because no one had come to pick her up. The driver helped her out of the car, looked at the mansion in front of them, then at her with something like pity. "You sure this is the right place?" Maya nodded. The iron gates were closed. She pressed the intercom button 3 times before anyone answered. Yes. It was Arjun's mother. That cold, clipped voice. "It's me. Maya. Can you open the gate?" Silence. "Please. I have the baby." More silence. Then the line went dead. Maya stood there, the infant carrier heavy in her arms, her body screaming at her to sit down, to lie down, to stop moving. She pressed the button again. This time, no one answered. She called Arjun. It rang once, then went to voicemail. She called again. Again. On the 5th call, someone picked up. "Stop calling." His voice was flat. Unfamiliar. "Arjun, I'm outside. The gate is locked. Your mother won't." "Go away, Maya." She actually laughed. It came out broken and strange. "What? You heard me. Leave. I just had our baby. Yesterday. That's not my baby." The words didn't make sense at first. She heard them, but her brain couldn't process them. Like he was speaking another language. "What are you talking about? I know what you did. We all know." "What do I do?" "Arjun, I don't. The DNA test came back this morning. She's not mine." Maya's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the concrete, the baby carrier beside her. The infant was finally quiet, sleeping, unaware that her world was ending before it had even begun. "That's impossible. The hospital ran the test yesterday. My mother requested it. 48 hours for results, but they rushed it. Money can do that. Arjun, please listen to me. I should have known. A girl from nowhere, no family, no money. You saw an opportunity, and you took it. I was stupid enough to fall for it. I never cheated on you. Not once. Not ever. The test doesn't lie. Then the test is wrong. Arjun, please, just look at her. She looks exactly like. Don't come back here. Don't call. Don't contact anyone in this family. If you do, we'll have you arrested for trespassing and harassment. My father's lawyers are already preparing the paperwork. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore." He hung up. Maya sat there on the ground outside the gates of the house where she'd lived for 2 years. Where she'd learned to make his mother's tea exactly right, where she'd memorized which rooms his father liked quiet in, where she'd slept beside Arjun every night and believed she was building something real. The baby started crying again. Maya picked up the carrier and started walking. She slept in a park that night. There was a covered pavilion near the children's playground, and she huddled there with the baby pressed against her chest. Every time someone walked past, she tensed, expecting police or worse. No one bothered them. By morning, she'd made a decision. She would find out what happened. And when she did, she would make them understand what they'd done. But first, she needed to survive. 3 months later. The apartment was the size of a closet. One room with a hot plate, a bathroom that smelled like mildew, and a window that looked out onto a brick wall. Maya paid rent with the money she made cleaning houses during the day. She brought her daughter, Aisha, she'd named her, because she deserved a name, to work in a carrier strapped to her back. Most clients didn't mind. Some asked questions. She'd learned to smile and lie. Her father travels for work. It's just easier this way. She'd lost 20 pounds. Her hair, which she used to oil and braid carefully every morning, was tied back in a knot. Her hands were raw from chemicals. She wore the same 3 outfits in rotation. But Aisha was healthy. Federal warm. That was what mattered. Maya had also been making calls. She'd found a lawyer who worked cheaply, mostly because he was terrible, but he'd helped her understand a few things. The DNA test Arjun's family claimed to have. She had a right to see it. To challenge it. They'd refuse to provide it. Refuse to respond to any legal requests. So she'd saved every penny she could, and yesterday, she'd paid for her own test. The results were supposed to come back today. She checked her phone compulsively all morning while scrubbing someone else's kitchen floor. Aisha slept on her back, small warm weight, breathing steadily. At 2:47 p.m., the email came. Maya's hands were soapy. She dried them on her pants, opened the message, and read it twice. Then she sat down on the kitchen floor and started laughing. Not because it was funny. Because it was exactly what she'd known all along. Probability of paternity, 99.9%. Arjun was Aisha's father. Which meant the test his family claimed to have was fake. Which meant they'd thrown her out knowing she was telling the truth. Which meant they'd done it on purpose. Maya spent the next week trying to understand why. She went over everything. Every conversation, every look, every moment in that house. She'd always known his mother didn't like her, that was obvious from the beginning. His father tolerated her at best. But this? This was something else. She needed information. She thought about Priya. Priya had been a maid in that house for 15 years. She was the only person who'd ever been kind to Maya, who taught her how to navigate the family's moods and expectations. Maya had gotten her fired accidentally once, mentioned to Arjun's mother that Priya had let her rest during her first trimester instead of finishing the dusting. His mother had exploded. Priya was gone the next day. Maya had felt horrible about it. She tried to find Priya afterwards, to apologize, but the older woman had disappeared. Now, Maya needed to find her again. It took 5 days of asking around, calling old numbers, and following leads that went nowhere. Finally, someone gave her an address. Priya lived in a neighborhood even poorer than Maya's, in a building that leaned slightly to one side. Maya climbed 3 flights of stairs with Aisha on her hip and knocked. The door opened slowly. Priya looked older. Tired. When she saw Maya, her face went through several expressions at once, surprise, anger, sadness. "You shouldn't be here," Priya said quietly. "I know. I'm sorry. But I need your help. I can't help you. Please. Just 5 minutes. Priya glanced down the hallway, then stepped aside. The apartment was smaller than Maya's. Priya lived alone. She made tea without asking if Maya wanted any, set 2 cups on a small table, and sat down heavily. What do you want to know? Why did they do it? Why did they lie about the DNA test? Priya was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You really don't know?" "Know what? Who are you?" Maya frowned. "I don't understand." Priya sipped her tea. "Your mother. What was her name?" "Anjali." "Why?" "And she died when you were young." "When I was 6. In a car accident." "Do you remember anything about her? About your family before that?" "Not much. I grew up in foster care." "Why does this?" "Your mother worked for Arjun's family," Priya said. 25 years ago." The room tilted. "That's not possible." "I was there. I remember her. Beautiful woman. Kind. She worked as a cook for about a year." Maya's hands were shaking. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Because it didn't end well." "What happened?" Priya set her cup down. "Arjun's father. He took an interest in your mother." The world narrowed to a single point. "What kind of interest?" "The kind, powerful men take in women who can't say no." Maya felt something hot and sharp rising in her chest. "Did he?" She left suddenly. "Just disappeared one night. I always wondered if." Priya trailed off. "A few months later, I heard she died. I didn't know about you." "Does Arjun know?" "His mother does. I'm certain of it. Whether she told him, I don't know. So when I married Arjun, they must have realized who you were. Maybe not right away, but eventually. And they couldn't let me have his child. Because if anyone found out that their son married the daughter of a woman his father assaulted, it would destroy them. The shame of it. The questions it would raise." Maya stood up. Her legs felt like water. "Thank you," she managed to say. Priya caught her hand. "Maya. Listen to me. These people are dangerous. They've already shown you what they're capable of. If you go after them. They threw me out. They threw out a newborn baby. Because of something his father did to my mother. I know. And I'm telling you, they will do worse." Maya pulled her hand free. "Then I'll do worse first." 6 months later. Maya had learned patience. She'd learned to move slowly, carefully, like water finding cracks in stone. She'd gotten a job. A real one, not just cleaning houses. A woman whose apartment she'd cleaned had recommended her for administrative work at a small law firm. The pay was modest, but it was steady. She could afford childcare. She could afford better food. She could afford to plan. She'd also found something else. Something she'd stumbled across while going through old papers her foster family had saved for her. Papers her mother had left behind. A diary. Maya hadn't known it existed. It had been in a box with other worthless things, expired documents, old photos of people she didn't recognize. But there, hidden at the bottom, was a small leather-bound book. Her mother's handwriting was careful, beautiful. The entries started innocuously. Daily observations. Recipes. Thoughts about the family she worked for. Then they changed. "He came into the kitchen today while I was alone. Stood too close. Asked if I had a boyfriend. I said yes, even though it's not true. He laughed. He touches my waist when he passes behind me. His wife pretends not to see. I told him to stop. He said I should be grateful. That women like me don't get opportunities like this. I can't leave. I need the money. But I'm scared." The entries went on. Got worse. The last one was dated 3 days before her mother disappeared. If something happens to me, it's because I said no and he didn't listen. His wife knows. She knows, and she does nothing. I want my daughter to know this. I want her to know I tried. Maya read it 20 times. She memorized it. Then she started making copies. She began with small things. She befriended a woman who worked as an assistant to a journalist at a major newspaper. Took her to lunch. Asked about her work. Listened. She reached out to former employees of Arjun's family. Not many wanted to talk, but a few did. Quietly. Off the record. She built a file. Names, dates, incidents. Arjun's father had a pattern. 4 other women, over the years, who'd left suddenly and never come back. One had tried to file a police report. It had been buried. Money changing hands. Maya worked at night, after Aisha was asleep. She wrote everything down. Cross-referenced dates. Found witnesses who were still alive. Then she waited for the right moment. It came during a charity gala. Arjun's family hosted one every year. A massive event, covered by every newspaper and television station. Politicians attended. Business leaders. Celebrities. Maya bought a ticket. It cost half her savings. She wore a dress she'd found at a thrift store and altered herself. Nothing fancy, but clean. Professional. She pulled her hair back. Wore the only pair of heels she owned. She looked like she belonged. Security didn't question her. Inside, the ballroom was golden. Chandeliers dripped light. Waiters moved through the crowd with champagne. A string quartet played near the stage. Maya spotted Arjun's mother first. Standing near the bar, laughing at something a woman in diamonds was saying. Then his father. Holding court in the center of the room, surrounded by men in expensive suits. And finally, Arjun. He looked different. Older. Tired. He was talking to a young woman, beautiful, barely out of college by the look of her. His hand was on her lower back. Maya felt nothing looking at him. That was how she knew she was ready. She waited until speeches began. Arjun's father took the stage to talk about the charity, about giving back, about responsibility. The crowd applauded. Maya stood at the back of the room, near the doors. She'd positioned herself carefully. When the speech ended, she walked forward. Not fast. Not drawing attention. Just a guest heading toward the restrooms. She passed Arjun. He didn't recognize her. Looked right through her like she was furniture. She passed his mother. Same thing. She reached his father just as he was stepping off the stage. Someone was asking him about a photo opportunity. Maya spoke quietly. Just loud enough for him to hear. Anjali wants you to know she remembers. He froze. Turned. Looked at her fully for the first time. She watched his face change. Confusion, then recognition, then something like fear. You, he said. Me. You're not supposed to be here. I know. But I needed to tell you something. Security. I have copies of my mother's diary. Dated entries. Names. Details. And I have 4 other women willing to go on record about what you did to them. His face went white. I also have the real DNA test. The one that proves Arjun is my daughter's father. Which means you fabricated evidence to destroy your own grandchild's life. You can't prove. I can. And I will. There's a journalist here tonight. She's already seen everything. She's just waiting for my signal. What do you want? I want you to tell them. Tonight. In front of everyone. Tell them what? What you did. To my mother. To me. All of it. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're insane. Maybe. But I'm not the one who's about to lose everything. No one will believe you. I'll bury you. Maya smiled. It felt strange on her face, like a wound. You already tried that. I'm still here. She turned and walked away. She didn't get far. Security grabbed her before she reached the doors. Two men, large and efficient. They escorted her outside, not roughly but not gently either. Don't come back, one of them said. Maya nodded. She'd expected this. She pulled out her phone and sent a single text. Do it. The article ran 3 days later. Front page. Photos. Testimonies. Copies of her mother's diary entries. Prominent businessman accused of decades of sexual misconduct. The fallout was immediate. Arjun's father denied everything. Hired lawyers. Threatened lawsuits. But the story had legs. Other women came forward. Employees, former and current, who'd been too afraid to speak before. The company's stock dropped. Partners pulled out. Arjun's mother filed for divorce. And Arjun himself. Maya watched him on television, stating the family home. He looked broken. He denied knowing anything. Said he'd been deceived. Said his father had kept secrets. He looked into the camera and said, I loved my wife. I thought she betrayed me. I was wrong. Too late. 1 year later. Maya lived in a different apartment now. Bigger. Still modest, but some windows let in light. Aisha had her own room. Pink walls. A crib that wasn't held together with hope and zip ties. She'd gotten a better job. The journalist who'd broken the story had connected her with a nonprofit that helped women in situations like hers. They'd hired her to do advocacy work. She was good at it. Arjun had tried to contact her once. A letter was delivered through his lawyer. He wanted to meet. Wanted to talk about Aisha. Wanted to. She'd burned the letter without finishing it. His family's empire hadn't collapsed entirely, but it had cracked. His father had stepped down and was facing lawsuits. His mother had moved abroad. Arjun himself was barely holding on, trying to rebuild his reputation. Maya didn't care. She cared about Aisha, who was learning to walk now. Who laughed when Maya tickled her feet. She looked so much like her father that it sometimes hurt to look at her. But mostly, she looked like herself. Sometimes, late at night, Maya thought about her mother. She wondered if Anjali would be proud of her. Or disappointed. Or scared for her. She wondered if revenge had been worth it. The answer was, she didn't know. Some days she felt strong. Powerful. Like she'd taken something back that had been stolen from her. Other days, she felt hollow. Like she'd traded one kind of pain for another. But when she looked at Aisha, this small person who existed because Maya had refused to disappear, who smiled because she didn't know yet how cruel the world could be, she thought maybe it didn't matter. She'd survived. They'd survived. And that was enough. The last time she saw Arjun was by accident. She was walking through a market with Aisha in a stroller. It was a Saturday, sunny, crowded. He was alone. Standing in front of a fruit stand, looking lost. Their eyes met. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Took a step toward her. Maya didn't run. Didn't speak. Just looked at him. After a moment, he stopped. Nodded slightly. And walked away. Aisha gurgled happily, reaching for an orange someone had dropped. Maya picked it up, wiped it clean, and handed it to her daughter. Then she kept walking. Years later, someone would ask Maya if she regretted it. Regretted what? She'd say. Going after them. You could have just disappeared. Started over somewhere else. Maya would think about this. Really think about it. Then she'd say, if I'd disappeared, they would have won. And my daughter would have grown up thinking she wasn't worth fighting for. But you paid a price. Yes. Was it worth it? Maya would look at Aisha, 13 years old by then, sharp and funny and fearless. Ask me again when I'm dying, she'd say. Maybe I'll have an answer by then. But deep down, she already knew. The answer was yes. And no. And yes. Because some things don't have clean answers. Some wounds don't heal, they just scar over and teach you how to move differently. Some victories feel like losses. And some losses, if you survive them, feel like the only victories that matter. Maya had learned to live in that space between things. It wasn't happiness. But it was hers. And no one, not Arjun, not his family, not the whole cruel weight of the world, could take it from her again. END. If this story touched you, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.